My 23 female parents, 50M50F, won't stop bothering me to turn on Life 360. How can I put my foot down? My parents have always been on me to turn on my Life 360 location since I was a teenager. Once I turned it off when I was 17 and they grounded me for a month. I'm 23 now, and I had it off recently, which they didn't bug me about, but now they noticed and my dad texted me to fix it. I told them that they have our Apple tags, which is good enough, and he texted me, "Fix it or I will fix it when I get home." My dad is very narcissistic and will always think he's in the right. Every argument I have is with him getting angry and just throwing a fit until I give up. I'm so tired of them constantly controlling me. How can I stand my ground and tell him no? You really can't stand your ground if you're dependent on them. If you don't want to be treated like a child, then you have to behave like an adult. Move out and pay for your own stuff, including a phone. Then if you want to tell them to sod off and go no contact, you can. While you are a dependent though, you have no leverage. This post screams, there's more to the story, and your post history confirms it. If you want to be treated as an adult, move out and live independently. I also have parents like this. I think mine is still on, but things stopped being an issue once I moved out a couple years ago. It's difficult if you're still living at home. It was a big motivator for me to get my own place, honestly. I'd recommend you do the same if you're in the position to. For now, you are an adult. Have been for 5 years. Ask them why they feel the need to track you on Life 360 and try to understand where they're coming from. As for you, explain your thoughts on it, and that being 23, you have a new level of independence. At the end of the day, you are an adult. It is perfectly understandable to have more privacy and on principle, be against them tracking you. If you live in their home, it will be pretty difficult to argue for your independence. If you don't, you can easily decide never to have this conversation again by hanging up or leaving or not responding to texts if they bring it up. This is why I moved out at 23 and didn't tell my parents till the day I left. Sorry, I'd start aligning my escape plan and execute. Move out. Once you move out on your own and do not depend on them for anything, you can stand your ground all you want, on whatever you want. How do I 34M and my wife 31F deal with my parents' guilt tripping us for not visiting enough? Hi, I'm 34M, living with a wife and a 2-year-old son. My parents, both retired, live an hour away from us. Whenever we visit them, they consistently guilt trip us for not visiting enough, saying that it's a shame that they don't have a relationship with their grandson. However, my parents being retired, don't visit us either. Usually we see them once a month at best. I might get a call from them about once every 2 weeks, but most of the time it's because they need something, help with the computer mostly. This upsets me quite a bit, as my wife's family, albeit living closer, still is considerably more interested in spending time with us and with our son. My parents unfortunately are extremely passive when it comes to our son. When he was a baby they at best held him a bit, but they don't seem to want to engage with him, they don't play with him, they don't let him go outside while we are at their house because it's cold outside, it's been raining, etc. Basically they just seem disinterested in our son whilst at the same time wanting to have a relationship with him. How can we deal with this? Or do I just have to accept that this is how my parents are like? It's become almost a joke between my wife and me how long before they bring it up at this point. You can ignore their comments, or you can address them directly and say, "You're welcome to plan visits with us if you'd like to see us more often. I wouldn't give too much energy or attention to people who only have lip service for their wants and no intention to provide or participate in solutions." Just shrug and tell them, if you want a relationship with your grandson, build one. It's not like we don't want you to visit us. Also, you could call and talk to him if you wanted to. They are capable adults, and maintaining a relationship with their grandchild is mostly their responsibility, not yours. Whenever we visit them they consistently guilt trip us for not visiting enough, saying that it's a shame that they don't have a relationship with their grandson. We think that's a shame too. We'd love for you to visit us more. Rinse and repeat. It cuts both ways, so let it. If they have excuses for why they can't visit, just say, "Well, our door's always open." Don't argue with their reasoning, just state plainly that they're welcome, and if they choose not to come, that's their decision, not yours. Ask if they remember what it's like to work full-time and raise a child. Tell them if they want to see you more often, they are retired and know where you live. Also, it's not up to them whether or not your child is allowed to be outside when you visit. It's your child, your decision what he can and cannot do. Be upfront and say, "We're not coming more often. If you want to see us more, then make plans and visit us, otherwise this is how it will be." I don't understand adults who let their parents guilt them. If they start, just leave. What's going to happen when your child starts school and has activities? You need to nip this in the bud now. I say this as a 70-plus grandparent. Sounds like a frustrating situation. One thing that could help is having an open and honest conversation with them about how you feel. You could mention that you'd love for them to have a stronger bond with your son, but the visits need to be more two-sided. Maybe suggest ways they can be more involved, like coming to visit you or planning fun activities with your son during your visits. That way, it feels less like a chore and more like genuine time together. It might also help to set some boundaries around the guilt tripping, something like, "We're doing our best to visit, but it'd be great if you visited us too." Hopefully, they'll get the hint without things getting too tense. Just tell them the road goes both ways. Have you lost all of your friends because of a divorce? I'm traumatized. 56M and 55F. I have been so devastated, depressed, lonely and worthless since my husband left me for one of our other high school friends. Our group of friends have been my only friends since I was in elementary school. My husband and this friend he left me for made up so many nasty lies about me after breaking up our family, and our friends felt obligated to take sides with them because their husbands were friends with my ex who cheated on me so many times and was emotionally abusive. I was a wonderful wife and mother. They didn't want to look bad, so they said I was a drug addict who took pills and went to a psychiatric hospital for threatening to commit suicide. And he couldn't take the stress anymore. He said so much more, but those were the worst things. These things don't even have a basis to exaggerate from. They are 100% lies and shocking to me because he knew it would get back to our children. He comes from a wealthy family and has always been popular and spoiled. I am from a middle-class family and feel like my friends will be viewed as traitors if they are friends with me. This has gone on for 2-3 years. I have no friends and he has ruined my life. We aren't divorced yet and I'd like to bring this up in court, but no one would ever testify against him. The trauma this has caused is unbearable. Has anyone ever been through this or have advice? I have never asked for help until today. Start documenting everything. If possible, get screen captures of any group chats or texts. Ask around neighbors and other people not involved in the friends group and see if you can get any character witnesses or people who can refute any of this. Go to the police and file a harassment charge. Get a good lawyer not only for the divorce but also for a defamation case. You can get preliminary advice here on Legal Advice Subs. Protect your finances and prevent ID theft. These people sound unscrupulous and may stop at nothing. If there is anyone in the group who might be even a little apathetic, approach and state your case and concerns. But my main advice is to lawyer up. What they are doing is against the law. Guess it depends on marriage laws in your state. Can you do anything about what has happened legally or not? Any family anywhere to relocate to? And where the kids live? I haven't, but I'm so sorry this is happening to you. Sending you much love. Talk to your lawyer. Do you have a job? Could his lies and slander affect your livelihood? Don't worry about the friends, just worry about yourself and your kids. You can make new friends. Get a good lawyer and don't speak to your ex outside texting or email. All correspondence is documented or only go through attorneys. Reduce contact with any mutual friends. Reach out to old friends, cousins, neighbors who aren't close with your ex, not to vent but to build a new friend group. Just keep your cool and let your attorney deal with the divorce. I've lost all my friends because of a divorce I had in my late 20s. It is hard to make friends as an adult, and now in my mid-30s I still don't have friends. I lost a lot because while I was trying to survive, my ex was telling them some pretty awful stories about me. Eventually I realized anyone who believed him wasn't anyone I needed in my life. How many chances am I, 18 female, supposed to give my boyfriend, 18 male? So, my boyfriend and I recently moved to my college town. He's not going to college, just moved here with me. And a few days ago I sat him down to tell him, I feel like you aren't listening to me when I tell you my boundaries. It's just small things like PDA and tickling, but I've told him I don't like these things multiple times. I don't think it would be such a big deal if we weren't having these conversations at least once a month. I finally told him that I'm done giving him chances to change and that it feels insulting to myself when I keep letting him disrespect me. He told me that I should give him one more chance and that if he doesn't change then we'll break up. I told him that I need the weekend to think about it and that I'll give him my decision on Sunday. He went back to our hometown and I stayed behind in my dorm to think things through. I just don't know how many chances are too many. Too long did not read. My boyfriend won't stop disrespecting my boundaries and IDK if I should give him another chance. If you want to be done, you can be done. It sounds like he doesn't have any excuse for why he couldn't be bothered to change before now. At 18? Dump his ass. You have a whole life ahead of you and more than enough opportunity to find someone who will respect boundaries. You say you have boundaries, but if you continually let him break them with no consequences, then they're not really boundaries, are they? What you say? I don't like when you do that, please stop. What he hears? I don't like when you do that, but I'll stay with you even if you keep doing it. And the important part of that is that he shouldn't need consequences. You not liking it should be enough. He doesn't give a shit about your feelings. Ah, the age-old how many times must we repeat this chat? Debate. Kudos to you for standing your ground like a queen. There's no magic number of chances, but it should probably stop before you lose count. If he's serious about changing, he should bring more than words to the table. He should bring action, and maybe a written apology with a bouquet, just saying. Trust your gut, it rarely buys a sofa it doesn't like. Here's something to ask yourself and him. If given one more chance, how will this one be different than all the others? What exactly does he plan to change, and how is he planning to prevent falling back into old habits? My guess is he doesn't have details. He just knows that this time will be different. Here's a better question. Why can't he respect your boundaries unless the consequence for not doing so is losing you? Why can't he respect your boundaries because he loves and respects you? I think considering the answers to these questions will give you the answer to whether you've already given him enough chances. Sounds like you're in college. There's a bountiful selection of suitors that would have a higher compatibility percentile. Good luck.